rock, that's how. Joe Brother with the big boy sound. Buccaneers gonna strike you down. That's how we roll. That's how we roll.
Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to the InstantCast for the Browns versus Bucs game. It is Sunday night. It is 9 o'clock, and this is... I think we really got to call this the not so instant cast because we're a little bit past the game, but this is going to be right about where our normal instant cast time slot is going to live. So, good time to do this. With me, as always, is my co-host for the show, Ren Daxt. Ren, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. When we decided to do this the day after, because it was a night game, and now Brent has the season tickets. He wouldn't have got home till Jacksonville till 2:30. If we would have tried to do it somewhere in the Tampa Bay area, it probably would have been even less, or later, I should say. You probably would have got him to like 3 or 4.
Right. So my wife would have been giving me death glares the entire hour of the show.
Yes.
I want to go home.
Why are we on the road yet? Yeah. So we decided to do it. So we decided to do it Sunday at the time we were normally going to do it, and we did not really think it through, did we?
No, we didn't, because what is happening right now is the Game of Thrones season finale. So I'm going to go ahead and just assume that as it normally happens anyway, the vast majority of people will listen to this on the podcast later, which they'll be able to find at the PewterCast in the regular feed there. So that's happening. Yeah, especially in my line of work, you learn you don't book shows when there's other major events going on out there. But we do have a couple of people who are joining us live over in the chat room. Nuck is with us. Kevin Sloan is with us. A couple other people jumping in. So I want to give a shout out to everybody over there. That is at the Mixlr chat room. That's Mixlr.com. That's Mixlr. There's no E in that. Mixlr. Mixlr.com/the PewterCast. You guys can join us for the Instant Cast show every Sunday night, 9 o'clock following a game. That is, unless, there's something weird about the game. If it's a Monday night game, obviously, we're going to push it to after the Monday night game. If it's a Thursday night game, if it's a late game on a Sunday, we may push the start time of the Instant Cast show. But regularly, generally speaking, it's going to be Sunday nights, 9 o'clock. And you guys can join us there. This is a call-in show, so feel free, guys, to call in. Just as a reminder, this is a PG-13 show. Generally we'd like for people to be able to listen to this with the kids in the car and not have to worry about it. But the whole point of this is just to give our instant takes, our instant reactions to the game. Not necessarily a full analysis of everything, just how are we feeling? What did we see coming out of the game itself? So you guys can do that. This is a call-in show, so you guys call in. The number is 864-729-BUCKS. That's 864-729-2827. Now, that said, we do have a couple people in the chat room, but Ren, I got to be honest with you. I would be very surprised if we got even one phone call tonight, given the Game of Thrones finale going on.
I was going to say that I would be shocked we just got one. I'm going to set the over-under at 1, and that's just because Kevin's in the chat room. Kevin likes to call in now, and please, feel free to. If Kevin was not in the chat room, then I would definitely be setting the under-over at 1. I'm going to push it to 2. Mm-hmm. No, 1.5. Can I do that? Can I do a half call?
A half call?
If it rings and sort of they drop off. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be a busy one. This is going to be one of those shows where we're going to carry it. But that's no big deal. Like you said, most of the people listen to this on download anyway.
Yeah, they do. And you guys are definitely welcome to take this in any way that you do. Kevin, man, he's tearing up the chat room. So, Kevin, if you want to call in, that's great. If not, you just want to throw it in the chat room. We'll talk about everything you're talking about. Keep it coming in there because I do want to talk about exactly what you've got coming up in the chat room. Hey, Ren, before we get into all of that, you finished up this past week the training camp journal with Ren Daxt. Put a nice little bow on that. Tell us how you're feeling coming out of the training camp journal now that training camp is officially over.
Those last few practices, probably that last week, I I think that trip to Jacksonville kind of put a little frown on my face, a little storm cloud over my head. Like, oh, that was not a smart idea. Drive to Jacksonville. I mean, I didn't have to do the cast, but we did have a show that night.
The Talking Knock show. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, with the Talking Knock show. So with the traffic I hit in Orlando, I didn't get home till 7:30, almost 8 o'clock. So I'd been on the road for, I don't know, almost 8 hours, 9 hours that day.
Yeah.
But then we had this last week here at home, and I found it a little harder each day to get the pod together. Like come home and I was pretty tired from getting up at 6 and then sitting out in the heat for a couple hours and getting home and then sort of saying hi to the girlfriend and getting everything together and shuffling her off to work, and then it'd be like, okay, I'm ready for a nap. But I'll tell you what, that first day where I didn't have to get up and go, I shouldn't say I didn't have to, but I didn't go up and go to camp because there was no practice, open practices for the fans. It was a little bit depressing. And then when I finally did record that final show, especially that last segment, I was like, I'm like, this will be my last segment. I'm like, I started to miss it, and it wasn't even over with yet. So,
right.
I'm not in a deep depression, but I definitely, even though it did eat up a huge chunk of my day, I'm sad it's over. I really am.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
You did a really good job with it, and where I want to kind of get to with that whole idea is so coming into, you've now got 3 preseason games under your belt. You were at every single open practice that they had available for you to go through for the first 20 some odd days of the month of August, and even back in a little bit of July. So you were there quite a bit. How has being in training camp as much as you were, how's that affected you watching these preseason games?
It's not as exciting, I guess.
Okay.
I shouldn't say it's not as surprising. Like the things you see in practice, and then they sort of do correlate to the field. So, like Jameis' newfound accuracy. You haven't been any practice. You've only watched, you only watch him like really on like 4 drives, and then you got to see, seeing what he got to do against the Browns. Doug Martin's explosiveness. The play of the backup linebackers, Glanton and Beckwith, like that was no surprise. You haven't really got to see the speed of Deshaun Jackson, but the chemistry between Cam Brate and Jameis Winston. Just those things that the announcers are like, whoa, and or like with big plays or splash plays. Instead of me like sort of like sitting up in my seat or even jumping off the couch, it was more of, I remember seeing that. Like yeah, I remember them working on that kind of stuff. So I guess just less surprises, more of like not that I didn't enjoy it. It was just what I saw in practice is what I saw in the field.
Well, that's I think, and that may even come out in a lot of what we're talking about. Tonight. So, with that, I want to say hello to a couple new listeners we've got over in the chat room. You guys, the phone line is open if anybody wants to call in. 864-729-2827. It's 864-729-BUCKS. Ren, talking about that, because I certainly was more in tune to training camp this year than I've ever been any previous year. Some of it because I got to go to training camp, some of it of just kind of following along with the journal and with some of our friends who are also posting stuff every day. I get what you mean when you say the stuff you see there is kind of what you're seeing in the preseason game. Hey, there we go. Somebody's calling in. Let's talk to him. Turn this on. Hey, you are on for the InstantCast show with Brent and Ren. Do me a favor, turn us down in the background and let us know who we're talking to.
It's Kevin, guys. How's it going?
Kevin, what's going on, my friend?
What's up, Kevin?
I figured I was going to be mentioned since I said, "Oh, my name's being brought up." So I said, maybe I need to go ahead and give a call.
There you go. If you weren't, I was going to bring, because you were just tearing up the chat room with some takes on the game. So I was going to come back and reference those. Hey, do me a favor, turn us down in the background if you don't mind. But Kevin,
right.
go ahead and talk to us, man. What did you think about the game last night, and just kind of some of your overall impressions for what was quote unquote supposed to be the dress rehearsal for the season?
Yeah, for a dress rehearsal, I have to give it about a C. I figured that we were going to play a little vanilla, just not really throw everything out there, because we know that in roughly 2 weeks we got Miami for week 1. So overall, the game was just a wash. You know, I was still impressed watching Jameis, accuracy, which is, I know Ren was mentioning it. And, yeah, that's something that I think that's really been a big key pretty much this whole training camp and the first 3 preseason games, just watching the improvements that Jameis has made in the pocket and just seeing how comfortable he is in the backfield. It's very telling to see that, he's out there, be able to read the field better, reading receivers, and he's just out there, be able to read the defenses and pick whatever's out there that's open, especially between the chemistry between him and Brent. That's been something that we've known for the last, year and a half. We can just see a continuation of it, definitely, because those guys are just clicking on pure, chemistry.
Right. And you were talking about how, Jameis is how he's moving in the pocket. And this was something I wanted to bring up, and I'm just going to go ahead and bring it up now. There was that one play. Well, first off, I want to say Jameis doesn't really get enough credit for his pocket presence. Sorry, I haven't spoken much today. But there was that one play where the defensive lineman got free, and he sort of spun a 180. And he was probably a good 10, 12 yards, deeper than he should be. And then he just rifles it to Martino for a first down.
Uh-huh.
Now, we know how we talk about how Jameis makes those dumb plays, how he thinks he can make every play, how we got to sort of coach that out of him. If we coach that out of him, we don't get that first down. Like, he would have either ran for it or checked down to a back somewhere. So that's the plus. That's the good plays that you get. You're like, wow, okay. Like, you thought he was dead. Okay, sack, drive over. He, spins out of it. Boom, hits Martino between 3 guys, first down. So, you got to take the good with the bad, and we all know that by now. But I just want to bring that up. That was sort of that's the play that we really don't want to see him ever, not try to make.
I totally agree with you, Ren. It reminds me of when he had that play in the goal line, and he just, was trying to keep the play going, and he just threw it, on one foot when he was falling in the end zone, and we were saying like, oh boy, it was one of the plays that was being tough there. He was trying to make a football play. So yeah, I completely agree with that one.
Yeah, and with that, I mean, just overall, as we look at Jameis and how he's done through the preseason as a whole, and really, Ren, maybe to back what we were just talking about a second ago, being in practice, Jameis looks like he has stepped up this year to me. I mean, Jameis is still Jameis. He's still all the qualities that made him good his first year are still there, but coming out of yesterday, even. I don't know. There's just something. I don't know that I can exactly put my finger on what it is exactly. But
he has better command of the offense.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good word for it. You can just sense that he has that. He has better control, better understanding of the playbook, I think. And I'm really personally excited for us to get out of the preseason and actually get into the game where we're running a Rocky Road offense. Maybe a mint chocolate chip offense. Get out of this vanilla offense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like you said, we played a little dink and dunk, and I think with Jameis, he's always going to have maybe one bad play, but I think we see his progression since this is year 3. And like you said, he does have a good familiarity with the playbook and the way the offense is running. But you can just tell back in the backfield that he has that command and he has that comfortableness. I think we started to notice it from the first game to now the third game, which was the dress rehearsal, that we see that he's going to be comfortable back there now, and now he can be able to notice different types of looks that's being tossed at him and be able to try to make those quick decisions. And I think that's what's going to hopefully improve by the season grows, by him seeing these teams now with their starters and going through the season. We hope we can kind of just go what he sees and just play smart football. The talent's there, the arm is there. He just got to put it together. And I think now that he's in the same offense, for consistency, we just want to grow and develop even more.
Yeah, and I was having this thought listening to him with that. The big thing we talk about with Jameis, especially of the big thing he needs to work on this year is cutting down those interceptions, right? Protecting the ball. That's the big thing he needs to work on. And the thought that I was having watching him throw an interception last night, but also watching whenever he would get sacked. Because God, how many times did he get sacked last night? Like
Just
3 times? Twice?
Yeah, 3 times.
Yeah, it was 2 or 3 times, whatever. But I remember noting that when he got sacked, you remember that really horrible throw he had last week in Jacksonville?
Yes.
It's almost like that has been, and I know we're just one game out from it, but like I'll be interested to see going forward. Was that maybe kind of a light turning on moment for him? Because what I watched him do was we talk about eating the football, right? And sometimes that's just what you have to do. I watched him pull that ball in and protect it more than I think we would have normally seen him do prior to last week. But Ren, to what you were saying just a few minutes ago, we don't want to coach so much out of him. He still has to be Jameis. He's still got to be able to take those risks and take those chances. But I think that this whole idea of protecting the football, I feel like this might be something that we watch him go on a little bit of a journey over the course of the season. Hopefully it doesn't take the entire season, but I do think that it I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that gets worked out and we see his numbers drastically improve in the second half of the season as opposed to maybe even what we could see in the first half of the season.
Agree, and I think yeah. Go ahead, no, continue, Ren. Sorry.
No, go ahead. You're the guest. You speak.
No, what I was going to say is just like when we were just mentioning about the chemistry between him and Braden, I think another thing that's going to even help him is now with OJ, getting familiar with the playbook and things of that nature, and now he can either rely on Brate or Howard to be that guy, definitely to open the offense up even more. So once, Brate does get that attention, then you have OJ that's going to hopefully get open and be able to make big splash plays, which is something I think that we're quietly taking a look at, once OJ gets familiar. And like you said, it's going to take a couple games, but I think the chemistry between Evans, Brate, and Jameis right now is just spot on. Now we just got to get the rest of the other guys to get involved, like Adam Humphries and, Chris Godwin. And Godwin had a spectacular catch, I think, during the game last night. So it was very, good to see. We had a lot of good depth last night being shown, especially the receiver side.
I'm glad you brought up Chris Godwin, and this was something I was thinking about today as I was watching, the early NFL games. He just acts like he's been there before. He acts like he's been in the league like 5 years. You watch these games and a rookie makes a catch, a good catch, a contested catch, or would break one tackle and, get an extra 4 or 5 yards to the first down, and they get up and they start flexing and bouncing around. And, Chris Godwin had that great catch, contested catch between 2 guys. It ended up being like a yard short of the first down. But all his catches, he just catches the ball, he gets what he can, he gets up, hands the ball to the ref, and goes back. There's none of this, like, look at me, like, look how great I did. Like, he's in the game to win the game. He just seems a lot older than his rookie status. And that's something that I could never really put my finger on it. Until, like I said, I watched these games today with, every, like, a cornerback would make a tackle and they get up, they act like, they're making the Pro Bowl. And, but Godwin's not like that. He catches the ball and he goes back to the huddle. Almost Barry Sanders-esque.
Yeah, very professional. You can I can just totally agree with you there. Because I watched some games over the today, and I was seeing some of the rookie wide receivers and seeing the little bit of a showboating, kind of saying, okay, yeah, I'm in the league and I want to make my name known out there. But yeah, with Godwin, he's just do a yeoman's work and just next play, and that's very very telling to take a look at for him.
Yeah, and just to finish up with a point on Jameis, at least for me, Brent sort of talked about how it was, like a journey. It's going to be a journey this year. It's sort of been his thing. We know that. It's been his thing sort of he got into the league about the turnovers. And it seems that he starts the season, protect the ball, and then he does good for a few games, and then he has like a stretch of 2 or 3 games where he just throws like 2 to 3 picks a game, and then finally he settles down, and then continues up to the rest of the season. He did it his rookie year. He did it, his second year, and that's what I'm looking for from him, is not to have that 2-3 game slump where he makes like those bad decisions game after game after game until finally he's like, okay, I got it. Okay, I can't do that. I know I think I can make the play, but these guys are too good. Like I'm gonna pay for it eventually. So it's those, and it's back to what Kevin was saying about O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate and Hump. With Jackson and Evans stretching the field, the middle of the field is just going to be wide open for Jameis. So I think that's also going to make it easier for him to sort of stay out of that 2-3 game turnover slide.
Agreed. Also, too, even some of the running backs, with Quiz being in the backfield, and also a resurgence of Hansborough and Barber, during last night's game, even though the rain was going down and the weather was crappy, we saw some pretty good production out of Hansborough and Barber. And I think Barber definitely may have a spot on this squad even more with, the different running backs that we have with this team.
Yeah, I got Barber. Obviously, we're not counting Doug Martin for the first 3 games, but I got Barber as running back 3. McNichols having a hard time. We're going to see him a lot Thursday. So that's when you can sort of make up your final determination. But he's having trouble with the playbook. They've been saying that since he got there. Like when he went off to that rookie symposium to sort of get like his picture taken, you saw O.J. Howard went, and he went, and Godwin went. Sort of like the splash player, so they could make like I think football cards for him and things like that. And the running backs coach was like, he needs to be here and he needs to be in his playbook. Like that's what he said to the media. It was during that one day where you get to talk to all the assistant coaches. And he's sort of been behind. You see it on Hard Knocks where he's going the wrong way. Late at night, Jameis is coaching him up in the hotel room. And Dirk Cutter didn't exactly have glowing, a glowing review of him today during the press conference. He said basically he has one more chance to show what he can do. Almost a threat, as in like, if you don't play well Thursday, then you're not going to make the team. It's what it sounded like. I'm not sure if that's a motivation thing, but yeah, back to Barber. He's a lock.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, let's jump in off that. Hey, whoever's calling in, give me a call back in just a few minutes. That person may actually not be in the chat room, but they'll call us back. They know how this works. But Ren, to that point, like our running back stable. And we've been saying this all offseason, is pretty stacked. So draft pick or not, you're going to have to come with it and prove that you're better than one of these other guys, especially a guy like Peyton Barber, who we've already invested a year in him. Forget the draft pick. We invested a year in this guy. We went in, we brought in Jacquizz Rodgers. Certainly we've got Charles Sims, who I know we've often said that he's the guy that kind of feels like he's most out on the bubble. But I got to tell you, these last couple of weeks, or at least this last week or so, it feels like to me like he may have kind of resecured his regular spot. And as you say, it really might be McNichols that's on the outside looking in.
But yeah, I have to agree there, Brent, because I heard the same thing for the press conference about McNichols too, and I was like, wow, that's really sad that McNichols is just looking very disappointing throughout preseason games, and he seemed like he's just not learning the playbook well. And I'm kind of curious to see is Jason Light going to, kind of sit there and make a risky move, even though, it's a low draft pick. It's not a really big risk, but, you cut your losses and, the guy's going to have to either learn the playbook or it's not going to carry a roster spot. There's just too much depth that we have. And like you said, we have mentioned those 4 guys. It's very, very going to be very stout back there.
Yeah, it really is. Hey, Kev, I got a couple other people calling in, man. I'm sure you've heard that, cool. So I will. I'm going to let you go, but thank you so much for calling in. And go Bucks, and we'll definitely look forward to hearing from you more. Keep chatting with us in the chat room. We'll pull some of that stuff out. Okay.
Go Bucks! And one quick plug. I just actually finished my fan blog for all things Buccaneers, and hopefully you guys will be looking out for it this week.
Very cool.
All right, what's it about?
I talked about the maturity of Jameis Winston and just to see his improvement, and also emphasize from episode 2 of Hard Knocks a little bit about when we showed him and he went off on the second string defensive lineman, just to see his maturity, watch him grow even more. So that's what I talked about for this fan blog this week.
All right,
we'll very cool. Everybody check that out, allthingsbucks.com. Kevin, thank you so much, man.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys.
All right,
Talk to you guys in the chat room.
Yep. Hey, so that was 2 different people who were calling in while Kevin was talking to us. So whoever that is, guys, we only got one phone line. So whoever makes it in first, we'll take your call, and whoever the other person is, we'll take you there. Hey, Ren, that's 3 people who've called us in tonight, even though we only just talked to 1.
Yeah.
So hey, we beat we beat our over under.
I don't think that counts. But wait, whatever. It's kind of like our first international call. No, it's not.
Hey, there we go.
There we go. Now it's beat.
All right. Hey, you are on with Brent and Ren for the InstantCast game, talking about the Bucs versus the Browns. Who do we got here?
It's your favorite chef.
Hey, Chef.
What up, Chef?
How's it going, guys?
Man, we're doing good. We're doing good. Talking about this Browns game. How you feeling about it, brother? I know you and I talked about it a little bit earlier today on Twitter.
I have my likes and dislikes of the game, as everybody does, but obviously can't do the overreactions. Although I will say that the game did give me some negatives when it came to the backup offensive line and all that stuff. And oh my God, don't get me started on that non-existent defensive line. It was almost like the offense, like. There was no defense on that. There was no defensive line on that field when the Browns were in their offensive or on the offense. So it's just like pretty much without Gerald McCoy, there's nothing there. It's that depressing.
Yeah, I think everyone sort of took that out of the Browns game. But there's a couple things I have to say about that. 1, yes, there wasn't a lot of defensive pressure. 2, they didn't bring any pressure. Mike Smith didn't dial up any blitzes, and when he started to, that's when the Bucs got, I think, their only sack, but it wasn't against Kaiser. But you have to remember that the Browns just basically went out and bought the best offensive line money can buy. They have something like $44 million this year invested in that front 5. I've said it a few times on other podcasts, some of our other podcasts, that the Browns have tore their house down to the studs, and now they're rebuilding. And they started the offensive line. They got their quarterback. They got some pieces on defense this year with Garrett and Peppers. So I'm not too disappointed. I understand everyone's disappointment in it, but once again, they weren't really running anything special. You would like to get there with just your front 4. If you can get there with your front 4, you got a championship defense. But yeah, it was a little disappointing. But I'm not ready to go jump off the bridge about it just yet.
I'll just go by saying this. It just seems like without the starters, I just don't know about, especially if there's an injury at a crucial position this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be even harder for the Bucs to win this year. Especially, I heard Dirk Cutter's press conference today is saying that Lambert guy, he looks like the injury he has is going to be a lengthy injury. And from what I was hearing, he was having a pretty damn good camp. So that's a key loss right there. And obviously, I don't think Humphreys' injury is is too bad as they're saying. So
right.
That's at least one good thing to come out of that game.
Yeah,
it does feel, I even wrote on.
Hey, I was gonna say, Ren, Chef, it does feel like they are playing overcautious on the injury side right now, as they should, being preseason. Yes. Like with the thing pulling Hump out of the game. I saw him yesterday after they pulled him out. He was walking around. He was joking. He looked just fine on the sideline. Now I don't know what was really going on.
Awesome.
But everybody said that. They're pulling him out. It's just precautionary. I think I saw you send out a tweet that referenced what we had. 15 of our starters were not playing yesterday. Or or 15 of our key people were not playing yesterday. So, most of those guys sitting out, not because they're actually, like, if this was a regular game, they would go into the game. They're just sitting out precautionarily. I would much rather see what we had last night in a preseason game with, hey, let all these people sit out. Let's let some of these other guys get some reps in. And I mean, you're in this catch-22 because you're keeping score. It is a game. You want to win. You're not trying to lose. You're not trying to ignore that side. But at the same time, the oomph to win just isn't there quite yet, even for a quote-unquote dress rehearsal of a game.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And I kept on seeing the tweets and all that stuff, saying, "My God, the offense just looks like absolute crap." And it's like, is this how it's going to be throughout the season? It's just like, people need to remember, Deshaun Jackson, Mike Evans, they were not playing.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are going to be the major contributor. Those guys are going to be the major weapons on the offense this year. This game was the perfect game for guys like Godwin and O.J. Howard to get the reps in, to get acclimated to the NFL level. And then obviously we know the whole die catch and all that stuff. It looked like a touchdown, but obviously it was ruled back. I may be biased and all that stuff, but I'm almost starting to think that the refs just want to find ways to kill the offensive momentum. It's starting to feel like that.
I'm going to disagree with you just because I want to stay credible as a host. But yeah,
I said, it's a bias.
Yeah, it's a bias. That's how it is on fandom. It's like when things aren't going your way, it seems like all the calls go against you, and when things are going your way, it seems like every time you fumble the ball, it just sort of bounces back up into one of your players' hands. So there has been some bad calls. I don't think none of it's really changed the outcome of the game. Well, I guess maybe that touchdown did. But, yeah.
I will say that I saw on Pewter Report that I think they were saying that Justin Evans got, what was it, two...
he had two personal fouls. Yeah, two personal penalty fouls back-to-back. They were back-to-back. And the first one, okay, maybe. The second one was completely bogus. Absolutely full-on BS, bogus.
Yeah, the first one 5 years ago would never have been a penalty, but now with all this, PC stuff about not hitting him in the head, and he barely even hit him. The guy kind of fell funny, was bent backwards, and he just sort of put a shoulder on him. So I can see that. The second one was two guys going for the ball, and they just happened to collide.
Yeah.
And since Evans hit him harder than he was supposed to, it was basically through the flag. It was like the guy was up in the air and it wasn't a catchable pass. So the rule seems to be now, if it's not a catchable pass, you can't touch the receiver because they're vulnerable, and that's what was thrown on him. And if you ever see the replay, you'll see it. You'll agree. It's just it's like what?
Yeah.
But I had no problem with either play the way Justin Evans played. I actually thought Justin Evans had a pretty good game last night. Actually.
Yeah, I'd like to see a safety that's a little more. Show me a little aggression. We certainly don't want those penalties, but I'd like to see somebody with a little passion as they're out there playing.
Well, it's with these rules and all that stuff, it's they're handicapping the defense so bad. It's they can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
They can't hit. The only way they can do is try to wrap up the person around the hips, but it's 9 times out of 10 is it's hard to do that because the momentum of the person on the offense carries over, and that makes the defender not be able to completely wrap their arms around the hips. So it's you can either go to the knees, which obviously that's frowned upon, but you obviously can't go to the head because that's the whole CTE problems and all that stuff. So it's the defender just cannot win at all, and that basically makes it so that it's just all offense in the game. It's what's the point of even playing football after that?
Yeah, I mean you're right, and you're getting into all those issues of player safety on the one hand, but on the other hand, you're basically handicapping the game and making the game less fun to watch and making it less fun to play. Honestly, on the other side of it, so where do you go with that? And I mean that's a whole debate for a whole different show. But I did have this note speaking about the officiating and even they called back the catch for Dante Dye, which would have been a touchdown. And I think it very clearly was. I guess their only thing was because the call on the field was not a touchdown. They didn't have enough evidence to overturn the call on the field. It wasn't that clear, although to me it was. But with all of that, like, while we could talk about why the Bucs didn't win last night specifically, those are the kinds of things that we're going to have to deal with come the season. Because this isn't just this bad calls, bad officiating. I don't even know if it's bad officiating. It just might be a bad call. That's going to happen during the season, and we've got to be able to overcome that. I want to see our offense put up so many points on the board that we've got enough of a pad that when those kinds of things happen, it's not even that big of a deal.
It's basically the Dallas offense.
Exactly. Like, give ourselves a little bit of pad so that we can go out there and play and get enough separation that the refs can't hold us back. Get enough separation that a called back touchdown isn't going to mean the difference between a win or a loss in a game. That's where I want to start seeing us get to as an offense, which comes back to that whole idea of finishing, which, again, you bring back all these 15 guys that were out yesterday, right? Bring them back and actually put them in a situation where they are trying to win, even if it means getting injured. I think we're looking at a different team. I don't know that what we've seen so far in the preseason is necessarily what we're going to see out of our Buccaneers come this season, because there's a lot of hype around this team, and certainly yesterday did not live up to the hype that we've had.
Well, it's kind of like what J.R. Sweezy said in the first preseason game. It's like we need to finish drives. Anything less than that is an absolute failure, and that kind of mentality needs to be ingrained. And Jameis knows that, but in every single person on the offense's mind, it's like anything less than a touchdown is an absolute failure. And once they everything needs to go right in order for that to happen, but it's just like a lot of luck needs to go to that happen. But I'm almost thinking that if they can get that ingrained in their mind, it's like then the consistency in that will come together, and we will start seeing drives finishing with touchdowns instead of field goals, because it's just like the last 2 years, it seems like the offense has just been so handicapped and all that stuff because of injuries and depth and all that stuff that we've only been able to settle for field goals, and 9 times out of 10, we don't even know if we're going to make the field goal. Obviously, with Aguayo and all that stuff, and Connor Barth had his issues after his whole Achilles injury, but
Kyle Brenza.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the tweets I did last night with my whole 5 things when I thought about the whole preseason game last night. Obviously, I said the pass rush, the offensive line depth was a concern to me. Actually, Mark Cook even replied back to me saying that he thought it was a bit of a overreaction, which I respect that, and saying that even if we cut all those guys, all the reserves and all that stuff, it's like you bring in these new cuts and all that stuff. It's like, how long is it going to take for them to learn the playbook? And you know what? I respect that opinion, and he's dead on right about that. So I'll have to see about the depth. And I sort of got Ryan Fitzpatrick. I just don't know if he's a reliable enough backup. I think we can't. Obviously, we all can't wait for Ryan Griffin to come back, because it looked like he had such great control of the offense when he was in that it was just almost like a thing of beauty. It's like 2 years of the offense. It's almost becoming to a point where 2 years of him is starting to pay off. We don't know exactly. Obviously, it's preseason, but it looks like it's starting to pay off. And then I was just like, basically the things that we know for a fact are Folk looks like he's a reliable enough kicker for 1 year at least, or maybe beyond that. It'll depend on this year, of course. And Brian Anger is probably the best free agent signing Jason Light has made.
Yeah, and Brian Anger, I love Brian Anger, I really do, but man, we saw way too much of him last night. Way too much of him.
Agreed.
I like him. I don't want to like him that much, you know. So
if you like him that much, that means that the offense ain't doing its job.
Exactly, according to J.R. Sweezy, and I agree with him. Hey, Chef, I'm going to go ahead and clear this line. Let somebody else give us a call in. But man, thanks so much for calling. I liked that list. Keep interacting with us, man. All right.
We'll do that. We'll do, guys. Go Bucks.
Thanks, Chef. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks. See you, Chef.
All right, guys. Hey, phone line is open, 864-729-BUCKS. That's 864-729-2827. Want to give a big shout-out. Our chat room has just exploded over the course of the last call, Ren. Lots of people jumping in. Hey, there we go. Let's find out who's giving us a call here. You are on with Brent and Ren for the InstantCast. Who do we got here tonight?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Mike here in Tampa. How you guys doing?
Mike, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, Mike? TV
Not
Bucks
much, man. The one and only.
There you go. Mike, what are your thoughts on the Browns game from last night, bro?
Because I was there with my dad, one, it was a great time. First game that we've been to together in about 10 years. Loved every second of it there. It was a little disappointing to see that while we were there, we wanted to cheer and be a lot louder than we were. But unfortunately, there was not that much to cheer about. But
right.
I went in there and I wanted two things. I wanted to stay relatively healthy, and I wanted Nick Folk to make all of his kicks. So at the very end of the day, I can't be that disappointed with what I saw.
Yeah, if that was your major thing going into it, then I think you got it. Because I think on an injury level, and I might be wrong, I've not seen an injury report, I know they haven't put any out, but it was Devontae Lambert has a wrist thing, which looks like that's gonna be a little bit serious, and then Adam Humphries had a little hip thing, which is nothing. Outside of that, it's what we've already known about, and the guys that they kept out just for precautionary reasons. So pretty healthy as far as that goes, it looks like, and. Ren, you reported that we might be seeing Jacquez Smith back a little bit sooner than maybe we'd expected. Go ahead, Ren.
Well, I'm not saying that back than he expected, but here was a sighting. You didn't see him for most of training camp, but near the end. Ooh. You all right there, Mike? What you got? You got the phone next to the blow dryer?
Oh no. Probably, I'm on the road, so yeah, we'll roll the windows here.
There you go.
All right, cool. It's just more of he's actually making an appearance out there. He didn't have a brace on, didn't like he had any restrictions as far as he was walking around. Dirk Cutter said today in the press conference that he's starting to run, but who knows how far from doing running on the field to actually. Suiting up and into a game. And that Devontae Lambert, he dislocated his wrist. The big thing about that is he was sort of the backup to Jock Smith. He was, when they were coming down obvious passing situations, he was the guy coming in opposite Noah Spence. Now, this could be great news for Will Golston. He might start getting a shot there on obvious passing situations, and he's got a very contract that's incentive-laden for how many sacks he gets. They paid him as a run-stopping defensive tackle, but they gave him the opportunity if he becomes a pass-rushing defensive end, I should say, defensive end on both of them, then he's going to make a lot more money. So we could see him out there. We could see Ayers out there, and sort of like a McCoy, Baker, Ayers, and Spence combo or Golston combo. So that injury is it basically knocked out a starter. So that was a big one.
Right. The one thing that did scare me, at least at first, was there was one play where Hargraves kind of hobbled off the field, but he came back quickly. So that definitely made me feel a lot better. And like you guys said, and like Aaron was saying, obviously the pressure was not there on the pass rush, but as you pointed out, Ren, the Browns went out and they paid big bucks for their O-line, and their front seven on defense. They're no slouches either. They got years of top 5 picks of talent up there, and unfortunately Garrett drilled Jameis in the back, but other than that, not a bad effort out there.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't. what's the opposite of lackluster? Luster? It wasn't shining. It wasn't a shining performance.
It was flat.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, the offense moved the ball down the field for the most part. Again,
penalties,
a couple
back,
penalties, yeah, and we wound up, like I said, we saw Anger way too much. I got sick of seeing him, but overall, I didn't think it was bad, especially considering, hey, these, what I wrote? My note was this. I think I actually said this to Chef on Twitter earlier today. This wasn't so much a dress rehearsal for this coming season as much as it seemed more like an encore of last season. We had our wide receivers were gone. Doug Martin was missing in action for most of the game. We had half of our defensive line wasn't quite there. There was shoddy officiating. It just seemed more like of what we just had experienced last year. And the bottom line of that was our defense held their offense to one field goal in the first half. Of course, we also got held to that as well till the very, very end of the half. But our defense stood up and did what they needed to do. Our offense, was struggling. So what happens when you insert everybody back in there and we get healthy? It's a lot to get excited for. And, a couple of people in the chat room have been talking about depth, depth being the issue. What happens when these guys go out, and we've got to be able to play with the depth we have.
Yeah, it's hard to have depth everywhere. There's 32 teams out there, and you only get 7 draft picks, unless you obviously trade to get more.
Right.
But it's hard to have depth everywhere, and obviously the weak point of the offensive line was Wester at right tackle. But, I thought he did all right. You can't expect your third string right tackle to, play like Lane Johnson out there. So, the one other point I did have was it looks like McNichols might be in danger of not even making this team. It definitely seems like, he's making mistakes on offense, and he got pulled after just a couple of snaps yesterday.
Yeah, we talked that a little bit earlier with Kevin. Dirk Cutter was not glowing in the press conference. Dirk Cutter actually said that in the press conference. He missed an assignment. I think it was a pass protection, and Dirk Cutter pulled him and sat him. I think he's going full on with the "I'm not happy with you right now, and you need to pull your head out of your butt" approach. You blow an assignment, you sit in for the rest of the game, and then the next day at the press conference. I don't think, he was asked about it, so he didn't necessarily single him out, but it was, he definitely gave him a shot over the bow, as in, you got one more day to prove, one more game to prove that you belong on this team sort of thing. So, honestly, right now, I don't think he's in danger. If he totally implodes Thursday, then maybe, they just might have to cut their losses, the old Fisher cut bait, Jason likes to say. And that might not be the worst thing. It's not like he's going to get a lot of playing time this year anyway. So a 6th-round pick didn't make the team. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I was actually sitting 2 rows behind Bernard Reedy's dad, and he was happy with how his son was out there returning kicks.
Bernard Reedy looked great yesterday.
Game back.
Yeah, he looked great yesterday.
In my opinion, I think he's going to be wide receiver 5. Right now Dye is giving him a run for his money, but we'll see with that.
Yeah, Ren, you probably have the best beat on this, but it sounds like that number 5 wide receiver spot might be the most competitive spot right now for a roster battle on the roster.
Yeah, I think Robert McClain, from what I saw last night, is pretty much locked up that starting nickel spot, slot corner. I barely saw Javian Elliott on the field during the first half, if at all. That 5th spot, everyone says it should go to Reedy. The only problem is, and sort of Rondé Barber talked about it twice during the broadcast, is he's not the body type they like. They like Huff and Martino. They're bigger guys. Huff, of course, has that the speed. Not like Speedy Reed. He's not fast, but they want basically an outside type body receiver. Somebody over 6 foot, somebody close to 200 pounds, and that's Huff and Martino. But the guys that are playing the best are obviously Reedy. We didn't get to see Huff last night, but Martino always double catches the ball. He drops it a lot in practice. Huff drops the ball, and any drill you're doing, if he's catching a punt, he'll drop it. If you're passing him a cup, the Gatorade bottle, he'll drop it. He's just going to drop everything. But they love his speed and his size. And if Reedy was 6'1", 185, it wouldn't even be a conversation. But he's not. So yeah, it all depends if they're going to stay true to the word, as they keep saying the best 53. Or there's going to be it's a fifth wide receiver. Let's see if we can, continue to develop one of these bigger guys. I think their upside's higher.
And honestly, with that fifth wide receiver, who's going to play more on special teams? And who's going to be a bigger impact? Is it going to be a speed guy like Josh Huff doing what he can do? Or is it going to be a guy like Reedy who really could be competing for a return job?
Yeah, with Huff, I know I need to get over it, but I still can't believe that in New Orleans they kicked it right at him, knowing that he was going to do the exact same thing that he had just done 2 weeks earlier and muff that thing.
It's the Huff Muff, man. The Huff Muff.
That was rough. Last point, Ryan
way
Griffin,
to keep the rhyme
you got to
going.
get healthy, because
Ryan Griffin, yeah.
Fitz is I don't know. To me, he looks like he doesn't really care when I see him on Hard Knocks or anything.
You're talking about Fitzpatrick right now? The Fitzpatrick doesn't care?
Yeah,
is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Well, I'd like to say something.
Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. I think, honestly, and first off, I agree with you, but I think he has been given explicit instructions. Now, I'm just guessing here, that if anybody gets near you, get rid of the ball or fall down. We cannot get him injured in this preseason, especially when Griffin was down. I agree with you, like everybody else. I think Griffin looked better in camp. I think he looked better in the preseason game. I think he was spinning the ball really well. It was unfortunate that, he got hurt, and this could be his job. It could be if he was healthy. But now he's not. Yeah, Cole Gardner. I was so happy when they escorted that guy out.
What the listeners out there can't see is every time Ren says that name, his eyes get real narrow, and his head dips about 6 inches. Cole Gardner.
Cole Gardner. Yeah, I twist my evil mustache like Cole Gardner. So I agree with you, but I kind of think that he's been given the instructions try to run the offense, but if the offensive line starts to break down, get rid of the ball. Do not take a hit, because let's face it, as far as we never want to see the quarterback, second string quarterback ever in the game with somebody like Jameis Winston. But if Patrick goes down for an extended period of time, we're up Schitt's Creek, and we're gonna have to pay a lot of money to a
Get
crappy
out there,
backup.
Steffo.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna have to bring in somebody you have to pay a lot of money to somebody like Kaepernick, or something the Dolphins had to do with Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
Somebody out there on the street. Maybe we'll have to pay $15 million to Tony Romo. Just something like that. That's really gonna hinder us salary cap wise going into next year, because all the cap money gets to roll over. So that $10 million the Dolphins paid Jay Cutler, they could have had that next year. But now they don't, because they're trying to salvage their season. So, yes, I agree. Fitzpatrick looks terrible. It looks like he doesn't care. I think he's been given the orders to get rid of the ball, get down, don't let anyone get near you.
That makes a lot of sense. And the other thing that I find very interesting is the Bucs haven't done anything with Griffin. We saw in Hard Knocks last week, Maurice Fleming, he gets hurt. They released him, and we saw he got about $100,000 on an injury settlement this year. We saw him do it with Dante Dye last year. We've seen a lot of injury settlements, people getting released. They've not done that with Griffin, which tells me at this point they're planning on keeping him.
They want to keep him.
Yeah, they're going to keep him, and I don't know what that's going to look like come the 53-man cut down. I don't know if they're going to put him on the PUP list or what. We'll see what that is. But it does tell me that they want to keep him. But Ren, I think that's real insightful. Because we all can remember hearing Cutter say on Hard Knocks, get Cepho ready. We can't afford to lose Fitzpatrick now. because he's the guy now that Griffin's gone. So get him out of there and get Cepho in there. Ren, I think that's real insightful, man.
Yeah, I expect to see Fitzpatrick for like 2 series on Thursday, hand off the ball a lot to Jerry McNichols, and then get the hell out of there. And then it's Cepho's game after that.
Hey, give the man some stuff. Mike, you got any other thoughts before I let you go here?
My one thing is, especially on Joe Buck's fan, it's really seemed like they've been kind of against Chris Baker recently. And I've kind of been defending him, like, hey, let the regular season play out. Let's see how he's been.
Uh-huh.
But besides his belly, I don't know if he ever got past the line of scrimmage yesterday.
He had a really good tackle or something yesterday. I don't remember what it was. So he had something yesterday.
He's probably an upgrade from Akeem Spence, and so that's a grain of salt that we got to take from it. But I just really want to have somebody that takes some hands off of Gerald and really lets him be what he can be this year.
Yeah, Chris Baker's sort of like people love his attitude, but his practicing habits are lacking, to say the least. So until sort of like the regular season rolls around and you get to see him for 2 or 3 games, he's not really going to endear himself to Buck fans. So I'm not going to go out as far as say that he has a poor work ethic, but he doesn't like to practice. And Ira Kaufman said that as soon as they got him, he said that, like, on his podcast, was like he got a quote from somebody high up in the Redskins front office, and they said, good player, doesn't like to practice. And so far that's been true. This Hard Knocks, we're going to see that line come up there where the rookies are doing
the number one more than 3 reps.
Yeah, never runs more than 3 reps. We're going to see it, and everyone starts dying laughing because everybody knows it's true, and they just called him out on it. So give it a couple of games. I'm with you. I'm giving definitely a skeptical eye towards him. But everybody's different. We like to preach, talk about diversity and not everybody's the same and blah blah blah. But we really all want our players on all of our teams that we like to be like Jameis, not like Baker. But he's there, and I still think Clinton McDonald's going to get a lot of play this year. He's actually put on like an extra 10, 20 pounds, so he's like up over 300. Gerald McCoy's up over 300 now. So this stout defensive tackle / 3 technique, 1 technique, nose guard, huge people on the inside that Mike Smith likes is starting to come to fruition. So I'm with you. I'm watching with a skeptical eye, but it really is still too soon to start calling Baker like a free agent bust.
Right, I got you. And my one very last point is I am upset that they didn't rule that a touchdown with Dante Dye, because I just don't like the false narrative going around of people, like the few people in the comments section that are like, oh, Jameis hasn't had a single touchdown pass in all of preseason. Mm-hmm. Because besides that one overthrow to Brent that landed right in Pepper's hands, I think he's looked good this preseason, even though he doesn't have a touchdown pass to show for it. So I don't like that false narrative going around. I'm very defensive over my QB.
I'm just going to say don't listen to it. I mean, that.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter is made for overreaction. Just don't pay any attention to it. We know it's going to pan out. If Mike Evans could catch, then he'd have a touchdown. It'd be simple as that. I mean, he put it right there for him. So I don't even listen to it. I'm not even going to comment on that. That's just a knee-jerk reaction to a really dumb stat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we'll see what all happens starting September 10th, because that's when it's going to matter. Let's have this conversation 3 weeks in. Let's have this conversation about the New York Giants game if that's still the case. If he hasn't had a touchdown pass, let's see how many he's had by the time we get there. Mike, thanks so much for calling in tonight, man. Go Bucks, and definitely call us back in the future. All right.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good night.
Have a good one, Mike.
See you, Mike.
All right, guys. Well, hey, listen, to everybody who's still in the chat room with us, we are just now crossing the 1 hour mark, so we'll go ahead and put this out there. We will keep talking to you. If you guys keep calling in, we'll keep talking to you. But this is gonna be the final call for anyone who wants to call in. 864-729-BUCKS. That's 864-729-2827.
So is that the final call for the final call?
Final call for the final call. Did I say that twice? I might have. I don't know.
No, you didn't. You just said
Go.
This is the final call, and then you said, a little bit later, and then you said this will be the final call.
That is. It's the final call for me to put out the final call to y'all. You like that? I made that rhyme. But anyway, you guys want to give us a call, please feel free, 864-729-BUCKS. But with that, Ren, I'll toss it to you. Is there anything we have not discussed yet from last night's game or just from the preseason so far that you want to talk about?
I think the defense got lucky last night with the timely turnovers. I thought they did very well on first and second down.
Mm-hmm.
And then, third down, like Dirk Cutter said, they couldn't stop. Kaiser was red hot on third down. I expect that will get cleaned up when they start to bring more pressure and more stunts and more exotic looks up front. So I'm not really worried about that. But after that, Kaiser night was very pedestrian. I think he looked good the first two and a half, 3 series, and then he went 3 and out 2 or 3 times in a row. So, they sort of figured it out, clamped it down. His passes became less accurate, that type of thing. I thought our run defense was okay, but we were missing once again a lot of starters.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Jameis looked fine. I thought his accuracy was still there. The offensive line was a bit of a disappointment. Jameis, didn't have a lot of time some drives,
mm-hmm.
and I think just about everybody on the offensive line at one point or another got a hold. I saw Alley's hold. I didn't think it was a hold. I think he just beasted the guy.
Yep.
He sort of pancaked him with his arm, just whoop, just tossed him to the side. I know Sweezy got one. I think Donovan Smith got one.
Yep.
Yeah,
Donovan had a costly one though. His was. I mean, unless his hold is what resulted in a really, it was a long play. I think it was a running play. Somebody broke out, and it wound up getting called back. But it would have been a big first down and got 20 yards or so. His was costly, but the offensive line, and so the offensive line is one of those things. You look, Leonard Wester was our starting right tackle in the game.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not jumping off a bridge.
Sure.
It just that was definitely the weak point of the offense.
Yeah. And going against what I got to tell you, you mentioned in the final training camp journal that, or maybe it was the next to last one, that the Browns defense, don't sleep on them. They're pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And so since you said that, I kind of had my eye out toward them, and so that was a half put together offensive line for us against really what looked like, you were right, a very good defensive line, which is going to be a little bit of an upside down battle there that doesn't go our way all the time.
Yeah, I did want to mention that at some point, but it sort of didn't come up. I've mentioned how many times how Cleveland's starting from the bottom and doing it all over again.
Uh-huh.
That they've got, Mike said, they've got a lot of top 5 draft picks along that defensive line. So, Ogba's up there. I think he was a second rounder last year. But if they got the number 1 pick overall, Myers Garrett, and he looked terrific. They're young, they're fast in the defense. Their secondary is still a little shaky. But, they've got the pieces in places. And I think Cleveland's going to surprise a lot of people this year. If it looks like Kaiser's won the job, if he can take care of the ball, sort of like what they did with Jameis his rookie year. You only have to read half the field, make your read, get rid of the ball, or check it, and then after that, check it down. So they've got some speed on the outside with the receivers. Their offensive line is probably going to be able to keep them upright. They've got 2 very solid, backs. They've got pieces. It's so, it's the quarterback has sort of been always a missing piece with Cleveland. I think they've had like 22 different starters since 2000 or something. It's ridiculous. If you see the list of people that have had the quarterbacks have started for Cleveland since, maybe it's only been like 2008 or it's really bad. So yeah, I was really interested to see the Buccaneers offense against this Cleveland Browns defense, because I thought it was a lot better than a lot of people. You're like, the Browns, okay, we should win. They only won one game last year, but like I said, they're doing good things, and it came out just basically what I thought it did. If it wasn't for like timely penalties, I think we'd done a lot better. I thought Dye's touchdown was a touchdown. Just one or two little things like that. That third and goal where he took the sack and then he had to force it to Brent and it was a little bit off. I mean, everything's there. And when you only play like a half and one drive, you can take any game. No one has a great drive every single time they touch the ball. Right. Sometimes you go 3 and out. Sometimes you're going to get a turnover. Sometimes you're going to get a penalty on third down. It's going to kill the drive. But when you get to actually play the whole extended game, if you look at the Buccaneers offense, I know I'm rambling a bit, but if you look at the Buccaneers offense, they basically played a full game now. So take their offense from the Cincinnati game, take their offense from Jacksonville, yep. And then take what you saw against the Browns and put that together and look at that and you go, was that a good offensive game? Like, was that? And I would take that any single week. They moved the ball constantly, got some touchdowns, had one called back, had another one dropped, and missed a couple extra points and missed a couple field goals. I mean, I don't want that, but I think overall, if you take that as like week 1 against Miami, I think it's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, I agree. And to go back to what we were just talking about with Mike a little bit about the quarterback situation, how Jameis hasn't had a touchdown in the preseason. Our friend Kevin, who called us earlier in the show, just kind of in the chat room started dropping some names. Here are other quarterbacks around the league who have 0 touchdowns in the preseason this year. Tyrod Taylor, Eli Manning, Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston, and Drew Brees. And Ben Roethlisberger. So all of those are guys who. So Jameis is not exactly in a bad camp there to say that he doesn't have a touchdown in the preseason. It's the preseason. Come on, guys.
No, yeah, I don't even know where this narrative started.
Drew Brees was another one. Did I say that one? Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I think it started outside, Buccaneers fandom, like somebody with a check by their name on Twitter, like just threw that out there,
right? And
people just started running with it. Just fighting against it. Like, don't worry about it. Pay no attention to it whatsoever. It's not even going to matter come week 1. It's not.
Yep, I agree. So yeah, I think that's all that I got for the game. I think you pretty much covered a lot of the thoughts that I had, as well as
I sort of rambled on that.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Do you want to talk about your stadium experience, or we're going to save that for the really, really big show?
No, we'll talk about it real quick. All right, here's what I gotta say. I was very, very fortunate enough this year to be able to get not just season tickets, but to be able to get stadium club tickets. Now, these are the east side. The really swanky side is the west side. So we're kind of more like the second-class steerage group. But, man, I got to tell you, it was absolutely by far the best in-game stadium experience I've ever had to any football game I've been to anywhere. The entrance experience, the kind of getting to go in, the special VIP entrance, my wife and I got to have dinner at they had like a buffet in there, like an all-you-can-eat buffet before the game. Real nice sit-down, waiters and waitresses, and the lounge area they have for you that you can go into when it starts raining. The way it just a cool experience. If you ever get a chance to get the Stadium Club tickets, whether it's a season ticket or even just for a season game, highly recommend it. I will tell you, my wife told me on the way home, she said, now that we've had that experience, we can never go back to just having the regular tickets that put you in one of the concourses for concession stands.
It's like the first time flying, first class. You're like, oh,
I can't go back to the other one.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right.
I think
So
I'll be paying that extra money now.
exactly. So very, very cool experience. We are not underneath the overhang. So I put out a picture last night. Like there's me and Penny. We're in like our little Buccaneer ponchos. Just settled there. Just being there. So there was that. The other thing too that I did want to talk about just quick. Very cool podcast came out last week from What the Buck, where the What the Buck guys and Justin Pulaski and the Stick Carriers and Keith Larson and the guys over at the Buckaholics, there is this huge uniting of the fan base, which I love, and it's what we have been calling for, really since May, I think it was. We came out and said, listen, unite the freaking fan base. Like, really, let's do this. So I love seeing it. I was super excited to see this thing that they've been calling the preseason pillage from last night, where the Stick Carriers are going to, combined with everybody, going to walk into the stadium together, do their big chants. They're going to get everybody out in the field, and just kind of things are going to go crazy. And coming off the Stick Carrier Takeover Day, I got to tell you, Raymond James Stadium is a much bigger place than the practice fields at One Buck Place. And I kept waiting to hear the Stick Carriers. I was not able to join them, but I kept waiting to hear them or to see them. And apparently they had some problems with security yesterday, like actually allowing them into the section that they were going to be unless you had a ticket, which was like not a lot of them. So you could kind of see them congregating, and then even just trying to hear their chanting to see how that would help like impact the rest of the stadium. I couldn't really hear them a lot. And then I realized I turned around and the speakers were right above my head, like for the entire stadium. So I don't know if it's just there wasn't quite the mass that they needed over there, versus was I just under the stadium, because it was loud. I mean, you talked a lot during the preseason at training camp how loud the speakers were.
Right.
It felt like that to me where we were. There was not much question of what was being played. So I say that to say I'm not trying to put down the Stick Carriers at all in saying that. In fact, because I'm going to include myself in this Bucks Fan United group. Bucks fans, we've got a lot of work to do if we want to get the crowd at Raymond James into this. And I think we as a podcasting fan base, and not just us podcasting producers, but those of you guys who are listening to the podcast, we kind of circle ourselves, right? Like we all tend to listen to each other. Like we listen. I personally, on my list, I've got What the Buck, and I've got Ira, and I've got Justin, and I've got the Bucks and Brews guys. I've got the guys over at the Pewter Plank. I've got there's a lot of podcasts out there, and I've got most of them. The guys that, people who listen to them, a lot of them listen to us. Like we're kind of in this together. The vast majority of the people that go to Raymond James Stadium don't listen to podcasts, So we as a Bucks fan uniting group, we've got some work to do if we're going to capture the vast majority of these fans out there. Because I got to tell you, there were times where I was standing up and I was cheering, and I had some old guy behind me who looks like he's probably had those seats for the last 40 years. Like, hey, you need to sit down. You need to. We're watching this game too. You need to. And I turned around and I looked at him. I was like, why don't you stand up, dude? And I ain't trying to be rude or anything, but let's get up for our team. Let's get hyped for our team. So there, we got some work to do, fan base. I'm gonna call us Fan Base United. I don't want to single out any one particular group, but we got some work to do.
7, Fan Base United, starting Gate 7.
But as you're spinning over in the chat room, it's we all got to help to start the tradition. So guys, listen, I would say whatever it is, whatever section you find yourself in, get loud, stand up and shout. That's in the song that we've been singing all summer long, right? Stand up and shout. Like, let's get hyped for the game. The team needs to feel us, because we've got speakers that we've got to overcome, and we're very spread out. So it's going to be something we got to figure out, but should be fun as we go through the season. for what we've got going on. So we just got some work to do, like the Bucs. It's time to get in there and do it. So Spence says she's been told a lot to sit down during third down. Yeah, don't do it, Spence. Don't. You've got too many big fat guys that are on your side who'll come and rough people up. No, we're not going to do that. But yeah, don't. Just you turn around and tell them to stand up. So, well, with that, Ren, any final remarks as we close out the show here?
No, just to sort of, bounce off what you said, What the Buck and Stick Carriers and Buckaholics, they know that this is going to be an uphill battle. Like, they know they're going to have to sort of, like, spread the message, like, section to section at a time, starting from, like, the 119, 120, 121 section. They're going to have to, it's going to have to spread out like that way. They signed some captains and some other sections to help with it, but as soon as they get sort of get their cheers in order, I guess, for lack of a better term, like, hey everybody, this is what we're going to say on third down. This is what we're going to say during kickoffs. This is what we're going to say. Once that starts to get around, and once it gets around social media, I think that it'll become a lot easier. So, like you said, it's a work in progress, but everybody knows it. So, if you were there and you at the game and you were sort of looking for everybody in the whole stadium to understand what was going on, it's just not there yet. But it's not going away, and everybody's going to put in the work, and it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, that is going to do it for the InstantCast show here. Bucks versus Browns, guys. We got one more preseason game where we will be facing off against the Washington Redskins. That is coming up on Thursday night. You guys make sure you tune in for that. It's kind of the throwaway game in a lot of ways, Ren. This is the one that people, starters won't even dress for this game, and then in a couple weeks, obviously the season starts in Miami. I believe that is September 10th is the date on that, guys. We are so close. So close. Other than that, guys, we have our Talking Knock show coming out on Tuesday following Hard Knocks. That has been a super fun run that we've had, Ren. The Talking Knock show, it airs right here on the InstantCast platform, right here at mixler.com/the PewterCast. You guys join us immediately following the East Coast airing of Hard Knocks on HBO. On Tuesday night, we'll take your phone calls again. We'll open up the phone lines. What did you think? Should be some interesting stuff on Hard Knocks coming out of this game this week. And then also, Ren, we've got a brand new main episode dropping this week, which should be super fun. We've got some news to share with everybody on that show. We've got some fun changes coming to the PewterCast. Internally, you guys will all be aware of that, so I can't wait to get to roll that out to you guys. Before that, Ren, where can everybody out there find you and your work, all the great work you're doing out there on the internet?
Yeah, find me on Twitter. I'm a big proponent of Facebook is dead. I don't go on it anymore. At Ren Daxt, REN_DAXT. I'm always down to talk Buccaneer football. And now that those journals are over, Ren's Training Camp Journal, I'll be getting back heavily into also writing articles for a couple of sites. I write for whatthebuck.net, and I also write for the Pewter Plank. I'll be doing the Pewter Plank 53-man roster, prediction. Mm-hmm. And then I've got a really cool sort of, it's time for the NFL to make a
minor league.
Up with. Thank you. Yes, yeah. I know I said it. I had it all written down. No, I didn't. Yeah, it's time for the NFL to get some sort of like minor league system due to everybody retiring early, and if key players go down at key positions, a playoff team can be turned into a 4-win team. Lickety split just like that. So these are sort of my answers to that predicament. And so like I said, at Twitter, REN_DAXT.
All right, and you guys can find me personally at Brent Allen Live on Twitter. I don't happen to think Facebook is dead, so I am there as well. You can catch me facebook.com/Brent Allen Live, or you can find me on Instagram, same thing, Brent Allen Live. But you can also catch us on for the show. We are on Twitter at the PewterCast, on Facebook /the PewterCast. You can also email us any of your thoughts about this game or anything we've talked about to thepewtercast@gmail.com. And please, like we said, we've got a new show coming up. So we're looking for your emails for the fan interaction segment. So we'd like to be able to answer and respond to those emails. Comments, questions, snide remarks, anything you want to send us, shoot it to us, thepewtercast@gmail.com. Well, guys, I'm going to sign off here for Ren. We're going to close the show out, as always, with a big old fat Go Bucks.